And one of these three will be representing the Republican Party for the shot to go up against Joe Courtney and your congressman here in District 2. So the debate begins again.
WXLM host Lee Elsey provided a forum Thursday for Darian Novak, Janet Peckinpah, and Doug Dubitsky to define themselves as candidates.
Do we really want a leader as a representative, or do we want a representative? One of the problems we have is that every politician fancies himself a leader, and we have been leading ourselves over the cliff. I don't think the people of this district want to be led. They want to be represented. I've been representing people for my career. That's my job.
Now it's getting nice and spicy because Daria wants a rebuttal. Go ahead, Daria.
Oh, here we go. What I would say is that, you know what, we've had, I'm giving an approximate number, 2/3 of the senator attorneys, about 1/3 of the House are attorneys. We need better representation from different careers, Doug, not just attorneys going down there. When I'm talking about being a leader, that means a leader knows that they have to listen to the people and vote the will of the people.
I'm sorry. I've got to, I got to agree with Daria on this. We've got enough lawyers in Congress. We do not need a lawyer to tell us what our legislation is all about. That's part of our problem, and that's why I've supporting a term limit amendment as soon as I get in. We've got to get these people out of Congress. They are allowed to go in and stay for a certain amount of time, but they have to come home and live by the rules and regulations that they have set for us. They don't live by those rules and regulations.
Would you work to repeal Obama health care bill?
I would absolutely vote to repeal this bill. It is not working for the majority of Americans. The first thing I would do is act to repeal. If we don't have enough votes to overturn this act, then what we need to do is defund it. It needs to sit there with no money in it until we can get Obama out of office and we can get more Republicans and more conservative people in Congress who can get a bill that will work for the majority of Americans.
This bill needs to die. And what we need to do is we need to replace it with something that fundamentally goes to the cost of health care. If we had a system where everybody knew the cost and had an incentive to keep that cost low, and the ability to shop in the marketplace for good quality and good prices, just like every other product, it would have a much fairer and a much less expensive and a much better quality healthcare system.
This is unconstitutional, requiring Americans to purchase for the first time in our history a product from a private company or face penalty of law if we do that. There's no place in the Constitution that says that we have to do this.
Can you lay out a plan for us detailing how you would attack the illegal immigration situation in this country?
You've got to secure the borders first. Now, with immigration, we're not anti-immigrant. We must maintain a robust legal immigration system. We must increase the number of people who come legally. We need to close the back door and open up the front door.
There is only one reason that Arizona has taken the stand it has, and that's because the federal government isn't. That's absolutely not correct. But as far as a plan is concerned, I think we need immigration reform that not only looks at the illegals who are coming into this country and crowding our hospitals and taking our jobs, but we also need to look at the people who are coming into our country who are being educated in our country, the scientists, the innovators, the people who we are educating in our top schools, and then we're sending them back to their countries to work.
Now, even if people don't intend to harm us coming across the border, they're sneaking over for economic purposes or other, we still need to protect ourselves from the health issues that occur with this. So this is just part of the issue. There's a lot of unintended consequences that come from illegal immigration. Once we get this situation under control, I think then we need to talk about reform.
What do you believe is the best course of action concerning Afghanistan?
The first thing I would want to say is that any time our country decides that it is necessary to put our military overseas in harm's way after the political decision is made. Then we need to leave it up to the generals and the military to figure out how to best accomplish that mission. One thing I disagree with this administration on is giving the enemy, in essence, an exact withdrawal date. If we do that, all that means is that those forces that are opposing us will wait to the day after that deadline and then do whatever they want to do.
We need to stay in Afghanistan, stay behind them. How long we stay is a matter of the military to decide. But we absolutely should stay and help train their military, help them support themselves in the way they do. Will they ever be a democracy? I don't believe that will ever happen.
We need to fight this war as if it's a war. We need to listen to our commanders on the battlefield, and we need to stay in Afghanistan and prosecute this war until we're sure we don't have to go back in 10 years.
They were posed a reporter's question about their campaign's fundraising efforts.
Doug?
I think we've done very well. We've only been in the race for a short period of time. And we're running a campaign that is more of a 21st century campaign. We're not opening a lot of offices and spending a lot of money on brick and mortar. And I think we're on track to at least get us through the primary.
Daria?
I know we've gone dramatically up. It's been fantastic what we've been able to do.
Lee, I think I'm going to be the only one to answer Ray Hackett's question. It is July 15th, and I may not have the exact figure, but I raised something like $32,700 in 1 month that I have been in the campaign. I got in a week before the convention.
Guns. What's your position on the Second Amendment?
I strongly support the Second Amendment. I strongly believe that we have, if we choose to, the right to bear arms. It's not a question. It's not something that can be chopped up into little pieces and little by little walk back to the point that we turn into a country like what's happening in Australia, where they banned guns and now crime has gone up.
I will tell you that I do not own a gun myself. My son just started a rifle club at his college at Harvard. So I took him when he was 12 years old to learn how to shoot to a course because he does hunt with his father. Personally, I don't hunt, but I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment.
I'm a lifelong NRA member. I've been for almost 30 years now. I used to be a firearms instructor. The Second Amendment stands for the proposition that every citizen, every law-abiding citizen of this country has now the individual fundamental right to possess and carry a firearm for the protection of life, liberty, and country.
I'll start with Janet. Janet, your feelings on abortion.
I am pro-choice. I have always been pro-choice. I believe that it's a woman's right with her doctor to decide what to do with her body, not the government telling her what she can do.
I'm pro-choice until there's a life, and then I'm pro-life. Somewhere between conception and viability is when that becomes a human being that has its own constitutional rights that override a woman's constitutional right.
I will follow the laws of this country, but I am strongly against the federal funding of abortion. I do not believe that Catholic hospitals should be forced to do abortions, and I believe it's a states' right issue. This is not something that should be looked at by the federal government.